everyone, to Gen Zen here on Tune Up Tuesday. I'm Jennifer Clark, your host. We're putting the soul back into solutions, one conversation, one phone call at a time. We were supposed to be talking to Andrew Harvey right now. I'm so excited to have finally reconnected with my my buddy from Bali. He was the facilitator on the trip that I went to with Lily White and her spiritual tour group back in November 2017. Andrew is an author, but the book we're talking about today is Savage Grace. It's all about the Kali energy and living resiliently through the dark night of the globe. Andrew is a sacred activist. He is an author, a guru of a kind, a scholar, an academic, and a really heart-centered gentleman. I first interviewed Andrew Harvey about 15 years ago on my radio show back at CKCU, and we had a very interesting moment on air. He made a prediction about me. He's very intuitive, so it's really cool when you talk to Andrew because he's kind of tuning into things that aren't always visible. I never forgot him for that reason. And then lo and behold, when our good friend Lily White, shout out to White Light Lily White and her great work here in the Ottawa area, was bringing him to Bali, my mom and I knew exactly where we needed to be, and I was so happy to be there with all the soul companions that attended. It was a life-changing experience for me. Andrew kicked my ass, handed it to me, picked up my broken pieces, and made me whole. So I really owe a lot to that gentleman. I love him to bits. Andrew wrote this book with Carolyn, you know, as an attempt to support people on the human evolution and helping people understand what they need to, you know, shift their mindset, how to align themselves in their bodies, how to sort of manage their own emotions, and how to sort of act in the world righteously with right action and right leadership. So at this point, the book, I loved it. I read it voraciously through the whole thing. And he wants us to journal. One of the exercises, I'll just read, journal topic, when did I last experience awe? So for me, Bali was awesome. The whole experience of Bali was beautiful, amazing. You know, Andrew had us be in silence for a whole day, which was fantastic. And we really had to connect with ourselves and our own light. I know when I did it, you know, I talk a lot during my, my work. I really had no problem doing it. I actually bugged a friend a couple of times. He got kind of annoyed with me. So definitely at different times I slipped up, but for the most part, it was really easy for me to go into nature. You know, I was in the pool. Each of the villas had their own pool. We had the ocean a few steps away. So, you know, when I just released and sort of let go of the whole experience of having to talk, we couldn't even talk to the staff, you know, about ordering food. We would, you know, either write it or point to the menu. It really allowed me to be present with nature. I mean, I'm always connected to nature. It's not that hard for me to talk to a tree or a rock or whatever. Because of the raw awesomeness of Bali and the geographic area we were in that day, you know, we were boundaried by mountains on one side and the ocean on the other, a truly holy spot. The water talked to me, you know, the rocks talked to me, the air talked to me, the birds talked to me, the flowers talked to me. And it was this amazing experience of no silence. Like I tried to be silent within my own thoughts, but it was interesting because I kept getting the dialogue from nature, who would, you know, communicate with me, of course, telepathically. Again, this is my own experience. I don't need anyone to validate it or try to believe it or not. It's what happened to me. It was very profound. And he wanted us to journal. And again, I literally channeled a whole lot of deep shit, I'll be honest with you. That just poured out of me. And I remember in our outdoor, you know, cabana veranda thing we had, I was out there until like midnight, just sort of writing and channeling. So one of the exercises in Savage Grace is, again, when did I last experience beauty? When did I last experience awe? What feels beautiful to me? Commit to experiencing at least 5 minutes of beauty a day through visual art, music, nature, or other.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, hey! I'm reading your words, my friend.
Oh, thank you so much for that lovely introduction.
I love you.
I love you, darling. Thank you for summoning up the spirit of Bali, that amazing place. The
So tell
goddess.
us, my friend, what inspired you and Carolyn to write Savage Grace?
Well, both Carolyn and I have been people who've understood that the world is in a huge evolutionary crisis, that humanity is in a vast crisis which is extremely dangerous and difficult. And we wanted to write a book, a short book, that distilled for everyone of goodwill three essential things. A very big warning that we are headed towards absolute disaster if we don't change radically.
Mm.
Secondly, a message of how to effect that change in the middle of great chaos through reconnection with oneself, through deep love of nature and cultivation of joy, through deep inner spiritual practices, through calm, wise, radical action on every front. And thirdly, a sense of the great miracle of this time. And for me, it's savage grace, because terrible though the time is, this is a time where you're offered authenticity by the very intensity of what's burning. When a house is on fire, things get authentic.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a huge gift to any authentic spiritual teacher and spiritual seeker, because it kicks away the props and makes you speak directly to people from the depths.
It's interesting you're saying this, because last week we interviewed my friend, local activist, Dr. Ian Prattis, about your background. His book is Our World is Burning. And he actually said the exact same thing
Really?
to us. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, you guys got it.
Reassuring for me. Yeah.
So is it really that bad? And I say that recognizing, I watch the news, I see what's happening, I understand. But on an energetic level, I also see a shift happening. So you get people who maybe are in denial, or you get people who, like Armageddon and get the guns and find the gold and, let's get the, let's go off grid or whatever.
No. I think it is extremely serious. I think we have to face that everything is up for grabs, that we have a psychopath in the US ruling the US. We have a plunge into the abyss of American democracy. God knows what's about to unfold. And the consequences for world freedom could be very serious indeed. So we are facing immense challenges on every level, chief of which, of course, are environmental challenges. We may be further along the collapse of the environment. Many scientists believe we are.
Right.
But it's very important, as you say, and I think this is why I'm very proud of this book, because it's important to stay focused on the extraordinary new birth that is also happening as a result of this shadow.
Right. Yeah, because the polarity is shifting, right? So as the dark rises, so does the light, or the activist. What does it mean to you to be a sacred activist? And when did you first understand you were a sacred activist?
Well, I hope that I, in a certain sense, have always been, because I was born in India and at a very early age saw terrible poverty. So I understood that there were millions of people suffering in absolutely obscene conditions. And that shattered my heart even as a child. I think everything in my life came from that, being shattered as a child by that grief for the poor. But I think it really took a vision of the Christ to make me understand a little bit of the huge transforming force of sacred activism, and to really claim myself as a sacred activist, because it was a vision of the Christ, of the living Christ. I saw it with my open eyes in church when my father was dying, and also had an extraordinary experience of Christ in a very damaged, destroyed beggar. So really received a sense that what is now essential is to birth a force on the earth that is simultaneously passionately mystical, deeply in love with the whole of reality, and focused on radical justice and radical harmony for all being, a universal force of love in action.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Colin Tippett's radical forgiveness concept and everything involves that. So the book itself really is a how-to book as well. So can you tell people who are new to this concept, how to act or live with savage grace? As a warrior, I love the word savage. As an
Yeah.
angel, I love the word grace. So to me, it's the perfect combination of
Thank
sweet
God.
and sour.
You're not frightened of the wild feminine. That's one of the many reasons I love you, Jennifer. No, I think it's so important at a time like this to try to live with savage grace. And I think what it means is to really explore for yourself deeply what savage means. For me, it means both returning to something beyond all the conventions, all the tamings that we've suffered, all the tampings down that we've suffered, returning to our divine animal and its gorgeous emotions and its wild, heroic passion for life and its infinite courage and its fearlessness and its emotional, passionate authenticity. So that to me is part of savage. And grace is working with the wisdom of acute, passionate compassion in the core of your life. So savage grace is the quality that a time like this can birth in you. It can make you at the same time peaceful, loving, tender, and compassionate, and someone who cuts through illusion and states things as they are and gives his or her life as a flame of inspiration to others in a desperate time. That to me is a huge challenge and tremendously.
You just said my statement. You just regurgitated my personal mission statement.
Well, I recognize the crazy. This is one thing we recognized in each other, I think. That
So why Callie on the front? You know, my girl Callie, typically, you know, misunderstood even by Hindu, parishioners. Tell us why Callie's on the cover and what about Callie is savage? Well, we know, and what is the grace? Which
Well, Jennifer, I was born in India, and India has a cosmological and cosmic wisdom about the cycles of human history that cannot be ignored because it comes from such deep contemplative revelations. And as a child, I was told that this age that I was born into and you're born into is the age of Kali. It's the last of the four ages, and it's the age in which everything solid starts to fall apart. Everything real reveals its crazy shadow. Everything crumbles. A terrible, terrible unraveling, progressive, happens. And I studied this for 40 years and had an extraordinary meeting with an old adept of Kali, an old woman in Benares, who said to me, the Kali Yuga is going much faster this time. And there are 4 stages to the dance. And the 3 stages have already been passed. This was in 2008.
Wow.
And we're really in the second to last stage of the dance, in the stage where the crises are erupting out of the shadows, threatening the whole life of human civilization, offering us one last chance to galvanize our hearts and get our wills aligned with divine love and put that love into action. And that is what Kali is also about, because she's also not only the destroyer, she's also the birther of the new divine human, pressed in the horrible wine press of this crisis is a new wine. And that new wine is the great holy passion of the embodied divine human for all of reality. It's the mother born in the heart, mind, soul, and cells of every human being. So the transcendent and the embodied Godhead come together in us, and we are born on a wholly new level of presence. That's what's happening at the deepest level that I know.
So for the average person, what might they experience, or how would they determine if they're in this transfiguration? What would be the common sort of experiences for the average person? You know, may have a spiritual practice, but not so much. You know,
Well, transfiguration is quite a high process. But everybody can experience the divine energy in the body, which is the beginning of the process of transfiguration. I think experience what you feel when you're deeply contented after a meal, that sense of enormous joy, calm joy that fills you with peace. Experience what you feel when you're holding your child or your pet to your body. Give deep attention to the life of the body, and suddenly you realize that you are already in a world of great subtle joy that you can enter whenever you stop going off into your crazy mind and living in that mental world, and start being present to the whole of yourself, your soul, your mind, your heart, and especially your body, especially this body, which is so miraculously more amazing than anything that we.
So why do you think, Andrew, so many people, I mean, I'm almost in my body most of the time, but I'm almost half a century now. It took me this long to get there. Why do you think a lot of sensitive people, like, you know, you've lived life too, as a sensitive man, we're out of our bodies a lot. You know, we're not in the temple. We're not present a lot of times. Why do you think that happens?
I think it's part of a large global catastrophe, the destruction of the feminine on every level. And that has an ancient lineage of terrors. It goes back for thousands of years now. We've been degrading the feminine, and of course the body is the ultimate expression of the feminine. I think also we're terrified of death, because death puts the lie to all of our fantasies of illusion and power, and the body is obviously dying. I think at the deepest level, it's because the body is where you learn the ultimate mysteries of compassion and tenderness for life. And that makes you very, very vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And people are terrified of that kind of radical vulnerability, whereas in fact, it is the proof that you're going through a true awakening, because that kind of radical vulnerability is love itself. It's the humility of love, divine love.
Yeah, I know in my case it's power. When I am in my body, I am powerful. And so I my default out of fear or anxiety or whatever I have kicks me out a lot. And so I have to be very mindful with the breath and mindful, I'm safe here. I'm safe in my body. I'm safe on the planet. So I think safety is a big thing for a lot of people in different ways.
Well, I think also there's been a huge amount of abuse. I think a lot of people have been seriously, emotionally, sexually, physically abused in their childhood. I have so many spiritual clients who have suffered appalling horrors in their childhood. And that encourages a lifelong dissociation from the body.
Right.
Fleeing.
So what are some of the techniques in the book, Savage Grace, which I read it actually during our trip in Bali. Literally, there's a water stain and some sand still from Bali. What some of the tips that someone can pick up from our dialogue on their way to buying the book, Savage Grace?
I think the main tip would be to really allow yourself to see this time as it really is, a tremendous crisis, that it's a tremendous opportunity to get real, get down, get connecting with the things that matter most to you, with nature, with your family, with your friends, with your deep ideas for life. Simplify your life, connect with soul, connect with spirit, connect with your true self, and look around you and see how you can truly be of help and how you can serve, because that will give your life joy and meaning even in deeply confusing times. This I know, and I just want to share that with you so simply, because really it is simple. It takes enormous courage, but if you've got the pain in your heart, you'll find the courage if you pray and if you meditate and ask the beloved for it. So step forward and really enjoy the madness of the time as a huge gift to pour yourself out and gamble your life away for God.
Mm-hmm. I like it. Gamble your life. You gotta. Some of these phrases should be on T-shirts, Andrew. I can help you with that. Yeah, a whole line. Forget spiritual gangster. I could hook you up. What does beauty? You really focused on beauty in Bali. Obviously, we were in a place of beauty. We were with beautiful people in a beautiful place with beautiful Balinese people, the culture. You talk about beauty a lot in the book. How important a role does beauty have?
Oh God, for me, beauty. Oh, how could I begin? I love what it said in the Quran. God is beauty and loves the beautiful. And you can meditate on that phrase for an entire lifetime, and it keeps unfolding. So I think at the highest level, it's the absolute beauty of wonder and awe and amazement and ecstasy and gratitude that a mystic feels when he or she sees the face of the eternal light, sees that unbelievably holy beauty that is the one. For just a glimpse is enough to end reason and begin a wholly new kind of life. That beauty, but also the beauty of the creation, this astounding beauty. Look at the Hubble telescope. Look how the Big Bang began in crazy, orgasmic, gorgeous beauty. And that crazy, orgasmic, gorgeous beauty has run like golden threads through the entire creation. You see it leaping in the white lion. You see it in the dolphin. You see it in the whale. You see it in beautiful men and women and old men and old women. And the leaping stream. The whole cosmos is shot through with this extreme, wild beauty. And this is God. This is God revealing some of the essence of the mysterious inner beauty of God's own radiance and heart. That's what all mystics come to understand. So the other phrase about beauty that I think is really incandescent and prophetic, I would say, is that the world will be saved by beauty. This is what Dostoevsky says in The Brothers Karamazov. And I think what Dostoevsky is crying out in that phrase is that when human beings are given an image of their own beauty, a mirror image to see the beauty of their own true face, they will go mad with joy and the courage to build a world in that image. And that's the task of the artist. The artist, especially in a time like this, the mystical artist, and that's what I am, that's what you are, a teacher. The task is to live in a way that inspires beauty by being ragged and beautiful in your own wild, unique, holy way.
I'm trying, Andrew. I'm trying.
Yeah, but I don't mean it has nothing to do with that. I mean, in your being, in your words, you're so beautiful. And you're a wild one. Of course you're beautiful. You're beautiful right now.
So we had lunch with a friend by our beautiful, it was the center of the medicine wheel here in the Ottawa, Carleton area. It's actually about 10 minutes from my home. We sat by the falls, we saw the cormorant, we saw, the cardinals, and it was just like awesome. And, we're in this city, but not in the city. And it reminded me of the Zen phrase or the Tao phrase, be here, but not be of the world, but not in the world, but not of the world. Yes. And I realized, like just looking at your front lawn and looking at the tulips or the dandelions or, yes, whatever is available to you in terms of color or smell or sound and listening to the birds, it is so simple.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of people don't take time to smell the roses. So what is one of your practices that you could share? Again, you've lived a lot of interesting life. You've met a lot of powerful people, a lot of high, a lot of low, a lot of power of all levels, power. Yes. What is something simple everyone can do, in their lives to bring beauty and savage grace?
Well, I think one very simple practice that everybody can do is simply when you're getting frustrated or darkened in your spirit, just stand, close your eyes and breathe in golden light. And breathe it down to the bottom of your feet and breathe it to the top of your head and let it break over your head. And feel your whole being, your heart, mind, soul, and body penetrated by that golden light. And then just breathe out. And breathe out anything in you that's heavy or sad or desperate or weirded out by what's happening in this crazy extravaganza. And get back to you. That's a very simple way of getting back to you. Get back to you a lot. The most important thing is to remember who you are a lot. And that practice can do that. And there's one more practice that is really, really wonderful. And that is to say the name of God by whatever name you love God. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a male name or a female name or whatever name. It's the name itself is the lens that acts on the powers of the divine to pour down the graces to you and change your whole way of being just to remember.
I still say La ilaha illallah. I still chant
Good.
that. You try to chant
What
that.
I say is the time, yes.
And I have my Arabic friends correct me about the pronunciation every once in a while. I'm like, how do you say it again?
Oh,
It's
don't
funny
you
'cause
worry.
even though I'm
They
saying it, but based on what I'm hearing, the chant, the sound is like ocean for me. It's like the wave of the beloved that, come to me, my child, and then shh, and so I actually say it quite often throughout the day, and I'll sing it. And my
Oh,
son who's spotted
wonderful.
hears me and just goes, lolly, lolly, lolly. Like, he doesn't know what I'm saying because he's hearing me chant, but he thinks I'm singing. And so he'll just go, la, 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 la. And I'm like, yeah, la ilaha, So it's beautiful. Can you say it? Can you say it like properly so people can maybe use this particular?
There are many ways of saying it, depending on where you are in Islam, which part. The Sheikh taught me La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah means there is no other God but God. And what that means is only God is real. Only infinite light is true final reality. Everything else is passing. And that face of infinite reality is all around you all the time. So give yourself completely to it. It also means don't worship in your soul anything but that, because that's the only truth worthy of the love of your heart. So it's an amazing way of cleaning your heart so that the beauty of reality of people of grace can flash out in the mirror of your heart. That's what happens.
Forgiveness and love, and forgiveness and love, and then it just feels, that's what I actually feel, the water. It feels like water energy to me, which is lovely.
It's very strong water. It's like mountain water pouring down, cold mountain water. It's very powerful. It really irrigates your whole being. It purifies you, strengthens you, ennobles you, gives you courage and splendor. It's all-purpose divinization powers, this particular mantra.
Love it. Love it. It's juicy. All I know, it's juicy. Where can people find you? Where is your next public appearance? I know you've got a lot of
I go around a lot. I'm on the web a lot, and I'm going to be in France. Actually, I'm going to this in Chartres because
the Magdalene.
I began again with my friend Jim Garrison. We restarted the old Chartres Mystery School, which initially folded.
What? I never knew this.
Yeah, we've been running it for 13 years now. And we're on geometry now because we revived the ancient syllabus, but from a modern mystical evolutionary perspective. And we have been in Chartres every year as devotees of the Black Madonna and the Virgin of the Mother, trying to reinvent a new way of being, a new way of doing everything. It's been an amazing journey. So I'm going there, and then I'm having an amazing opportunity of taking 20 people for a week into the depths of mystical Paris, because I lived in Paris for 10 years, and Paris has been a mystical mandala for me, and I'm going to share what I learned there about the inner landscape of Paris to people. So
these are open to the public, right? So people
next year they will be, but I will be speaking in August in California at the California Institute of Integral Studies. But I'm all over YouTube. I'd love to. I hope I can speak to you in many, many ways, my friends, and that you could be part of my Facebook and my email list.
Well, you've changed my life, Andrew. You changed it 15 years ago. I told you this when we first interviewed you, and you were just a author, that I was assigned, and we had that lovely moment, which we both forgot about. Then I remembered. And I'm so glad to Lily White. Big hugs to Lily White from Almont here in the Ottawa area for bringing us all together and bringing you to Bali. And much love to all the people that were on that trip, because they all made me a better person. It wasn't always easy or pretty, and I wasn't always graceful. But man, am I doing really well now. So I love you all, especially you, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me on, and God bless all the people who've been with us. It's been a wonderful time. I love you, darling.
Please check out Savage Grace and AndrewHarvey.com. He is worth the travel and the opportunity, to go hear him speak, because as you can see, his poetic voice comes out, and the lovely transmissions of grace and love come out of this man. So from my heart to yours, dear friend, Jane and I say we love you, we miss you, and
in fact, your wild mother, please.
Yeah. So Andrew, Harvey, thank you again for your time. Thanks everyone for watching. Eddie Kwan, we love you. Please check out Shangri-La, where he's a new fan of the show. We love all the people that are tuning in. We're here every Tuesday from 3 to 3:30. Remember, when it's dark outside, keep the light on.